The 1992 Grand Prix season. This is the first official qualifying session for Sunday's Portuguese Grand Prix. John Watson and L.R. Cal travel to Portugal together with the whole Eurosport crew, and we try and give you the best up-to-date coverage. This is Martin Brundle, the first man out on the circuit this afternoon. But John, I think we have to go back to this morning to say that Mansell was quicker than Riccardo Patrese and quicker than anybody else. That was not a surprise, although it was only by 0.3 of a second.
Well, of course, Nigel Mansell was not able to complete that 1.5 hour free practice session this morning because he ended up almost like Martin Brundle did just there, but he went into the sand traps, and in fact he only did, I think, about 20 or 21 laps. Riccardo Patrese, Berger and others had the chance to complete that session, but nonetheless Nigel Mansell was the dominant man this morning. Patrese second quickest, Berger third, and Ayrton Senna fourth. Martin Brundle, who we're now looking at, he ended up seventh quickest in a bunch of 4 of those Ford HP engine cars. Schumacher was the quickest, he was fifth quickest. Johnny Herbert sixth, Martin Brundle seventh, and Mika Hakkinen eighth. And of course, remember, Benetton are running the 6 Series version of the Ford HP engine. That's the version with the pneumatic valves here on it. Lotus are running this 5 Series, which has got a conventional valve spring operation. But in fact, the difference in performance between Lotus and Benetton was very, very small indeed.
Johnny Herbert 6th and Mika Hakkinen 8th. And we got actually all the places 5th to 8th place are all Ford HP engine cars. Martin Brundle crossing the line 1:24.2. That is a lap where he nearly went off and sort of took it easy, and behind him we just saw teammate Michael Schumacher, and Schumacher, another man who had a trip across the gravel early this morning.
Again, Brundle locking up that right front wheel, but this time able to keep line. So both Benettons out right now. Michael Schumacher about a couple of 100 meters behind Martin Brundle, and just looking, Brundle exiting that third gear left-hand corner, hard on the back end, stepping out, then through that flat-out fifth gear right-hander down to what is virtually the quickest second equal or quickest part of the circuit. And this morning, at that first intermediate time, the quickest man, in fact, was Riccardo Patrese at 183 miles an hour. They're doing a little bit more than that going across the start-finish line.
Well, Riccardo Patrese is the fastest man on the circuit with a 1:15.489, and that 1:15.489 is the Carl Wendlinger and Christian Fittipaldi, both drivers who have their first official qualifying session in any car here at Estoril, and both never been here before.
Well, Patrese coming through this flat right-hand corner, down the hill, passing one of the two Benettons, Schumacher, and then into this. So this is where Mansell, in fact, went off this morning. He came into that corner too quickly and went into the gravel trap of the car. They could not extract it from that trap, and somewhat frustrating for Mansell because he did want to get back and complete more laps in that car. Now, Patrese 3/4 way round the lap. This is the final wiggle-woggle. And important now to get out of this left-hand corner, and you see 0.2 of a second quicker than his current. Now that would put him roughly about the same time as Mansell achieved this morning. Mansell did a 13.761. Morbidelli ahead of Patrese. Yeah, 13.672. So Riccardo Patrese has now eclipsed the quickest time Nigel Mansell attained this morning by just over 1/10 of a second. It was, and again, we saw that happening a number of times around the circuit to a number of people. The Estoril circuit is very bumpy, and you could see there once the car broke away, it really just about got round the corner. He had to get out of the throttle and sort of hoped and prayed that gravel trap wouldn't draw him into it. Again, let's watch it. Here's the car under braking up, very unstable. Suddenly the back leaps out. Johnny doing all sorts of miracles, kept the car on the track. And if there was a monitor on his heart, I'd imagine that it would leap up into the high 150s or 160 beats per minute. now cruising around, deciding, I think, either to start another lap, but more than likely going to come into the pits.
And I'm sure Nigel will have another go at it right now. And I think we're going to watch the pole position lap.
Well, Mansell is going to try very, very hard indeed. And again, you've got to take every opportunity you can here at Estoril, because traffic is a big problem. Every corner here is important. And particularly if you get caught in traffic, you might as well just stop the lap, wait until you can come back onto the start, finish straight, and start again. Mansell passing Hakkinen, who's going, as you see, slowly. And again, the back of the car, it looks to me that the way Nigel sets his car up, we know he has a lot of downforce on the front. He uses tremendous physical strength to combat the high downforce he has in the front of the car, and also to keep it in control. But on a surface as bumpy as this, the back can just flick out, and that can be very difficult indeed.
Nigel Mansell, for the first time, faster than Riccardo Patrese. On the previous split times, he was a little bit slower. Now he's faster, but will he be faster on an overall lap? 0.2 of a second. I think he will be. John thinks he will be. Only just.
Well, only just is enough. Nigel Mansell, provisional pole, 1 minute 13.650. Teammate Riccardo Patrese alongside him, 1 minute 13.672.
Mika Hakkinen, who is currently in 8th position. He was 8th this morning with a 1:16.981 this morning and a 1:73, so that's half a second. And there's another man who's happy in.
Well, but look at that. Hakkinen again appears to be overdriving, but in fact, this car, this Lotus 108, is such an easy car to drive compared to other competitors. You can get away with a lot more in that. The car is very well balanced. It's got a good amount of grip. It's got the Ford HB engine. It's the perfect package for two young drivers like Mika Hakkinen and Johnny Herbert. You can see the exuberance, the youth, if you like, of Mika Hakkinen here. This isn't going to hurt his time that much, because really the car is doing such a good job.
2.6 seconds, so he will end up with a time in the high 1 minute 16 bracket. That means he would be very close to teammate Johnny Herbert and put him a couple of places up the grid. 1:17.004. Well, that is 7th now for Mika Hakkinen. Means he lost quite a lot during that very fast right-hand corner, John, when I think your head must be pulling such a lot of G. I mean, not only your head, the whole body around that corner is unbelievable.
Very long corner. The G loads are building up through the corner, so you're entering the corner maybe already with about 2.5 or so G, and by the time you get mid-corner and to the exit, it's building up to well over 3, up to 3.5 G, and that is the corner lasts about 5 seconds, and that amount of load is very high for that length of time.
Hakkinen using all the roads, because you can see the white paint appearing on the black Goodyear tyre, and I just hope Pierluigi Martini is going to get out of the way, because Hakkinen is on another flyer.
Gerhard Berger has improved again, now 1 minute 15.374, still in 3rd place, and that is, well, 1/3 thousandths of a second slower than he achieved this morning. But Hakkinen very, very keen to try and take advantage of being behind Martini. Big opposite lock coming onto the straight. Can he get a toe? Can he pull out and pass before the end of the straight?
I think he probably will. He's improved another 2/10, so that's not an improvement for position, but just in time. Mika Hakkinen still 7th, and I think he's trying to tell.
I think it could be very, very effective here, especially on Sunday in the race. Well, here's John Alesi trying. Look at that, hands a blur. Look at that long uphill left-hand corner going past one of the two Jordans. I think that was Gulsman. Then back into 3rd gear. This double right-hander, then up the hill, 4th gear, 5th gear, flat through here in 5th. Then quickly off the brake, staying off the curb on the left. And then down into 3rd gear again. Right, left, and then it's flat out all the way up and into this very, very long and very high load right-hand corner. And be getting caught. That's Benetton staying out of the way. Now John Alesi, can he make clear laps? Can he improve on his current 11th place?
John Alesi is in 11th on a 1:17.575. The man following in is Mircea Guzman, who is 16th on a 1:17.949. So, I don't know whether there's a Joe
Alesi in trouble. A big trouble for Alesi. Came into that right-hand corner, the downhill right-hand corner, on the brakes, turned in the car, went very oversteery. He had to get off the brakes and sort of ever so gingerly now saying, well, that's enough of that. I'm going to let Guzman go through. And that just shows you how difficult it's going to be, and that's in America and IndyCar racing. But I'm not sure if his heart will be in it the way it is in Formula One.
Mansell at that very difficult section, that right-hander uphill, not a lot of grip coming out of there, and then that left-hander with not a lot of grip either coming out onto that back straight.
Well, he got a quick glimpse of Ayrton Senna there. He is on the circuit. Berger just leaving the pit lane, but really his second serious run of the afternoon. Pictures jumping around all over the place. Well, here we have Mansell, and let's hope we can stay with him for the completion of this lap. 57.22 at the second intermediate time, almost 0.2 of a second quicker. So can he get down to the pole time? Riccardo Patrese set 1991, 1 minute 13.001. Well, Mansell has backed off.
Well, he's backed off while he was quicker, so I don't know why he did that, but...
Well, there's something maybe in that final right-hand corner. Maybe he had a little wobble. We didn't get to see it, but certainly on the exit of the corner, the speed was not there. He had backed off, but up to that point, he had improved. So I don't know quite what Nigel thought he was up to. He wasn't very happy with Thierry Boutsen as he passed him there. He did lift off and just indicate to Boutsen that maybe something on the rear wing of that car broke. The rear wing fell backwards. Under braking, you can see the wing is still attached to the car, but there's oil or something coming up from the bottom of the car. Maybe if an engine blew up, there's liquid or something appearing to come out from the back of the car. Ayrton Senna, very lucky. Now let's watch it again.
Oh, it's the wing.
Well, I would have said it was the wing as well, but then you can see as the car is driving away, Senna's able to drive it. The front wing of the car is off as well. The front, the fins, the side plate, and the tunnel that guides the air around the back of the car. Ayrton Senna, very unfortunate, but very lucky at the same time.
Well, Ayrton has posted the time. Senna is now in 16th position, while bits and pieces are flying off that McLaren left, right and center. Senna going very slowly back to the pit.
Well, that is not a part of the circuit you want to have a rear wing failure. We did see the same thing happen to Michael Schumacher in the Hungarian Grand Prix, but that was because his car had been tapped from behind by his teammate Martin Brundle, but no one would have appeared to have had any contact whatsoever with Ayrton Senna, and he's just really, that is a simple mechanical failure.
With all the drizzle coming out of the side pods, I mean.
Yeah, but also you could see as he drove down the left-hand side of the circuit just how much dirt and dust there is. There's more bits of the front wing just falling apart. Senna now, wings about to fly off in every direction. Senna wanting to get back to the pit. Car, certainly the wings in the car disintegrating on the way back. The way the McLaren rear wing is attached to the gearbox, it's held on, I believe, with 4 bolts. The Benetton wing was only held on with 2, but McLaren, I understand, used 4. But that looks like either the bracket that supports that rear wing or one of the bolts that supports it just gave way.
Mansell has improved to 1:13.092, and that is very close to last year's pole position time, John.
Indeed it is, Allard. We saw lots and lots of blue smoke coming from the tyres, but off-line here at Estoril, the track is very, very dusty, very dirty indeed. And of course the main straight is not excluded from being very dirty. Down the right-hand side of the circuit is not the place to be at the start. The left-hand side, that's where pole position will be. And anyone lining up behind, currently provisional pole holder Nigel Mansell, and that is Michael Schumacher, Johnny Herbert, Michele Albretto, and now Thierry Boutsen, who's now up to 9th, will have an advantage. Beyond that, well, it's Hobson's choice, because the middle of the grid will just go wild, as we know from Grand Prix starts. Here is always a crucial corner. We have seen many incidents here at the start of the first lap of a Grand Prix. and one wants to be very prudent indeed.
An improved Martin Brundle, Michele Alboreto, Steffens and Mika Hakkinen is in 8th place on the grid. Hakkinen just improving to that 8th place, by the way. Terry Boots in 9th, John Alesi.
Berger.
It's just improved, John, to 3rd place again. And now he's overtaken Michael Schumacher. He was 2/1000ths of a second behind Schumacher. He's now 2/1000ths of a second in front of Schumacher.
Well, very, very close indeed. We thought that Berger getting the back of the car again out of line, just showing you how hard he is trying. And Berger has decided to back off that little slide to improve his present 1 minute 15.335. But in reality, 1.7 seconds off getting onto the front row of the grid, and the car just doesn't have that speed in it. Berger, of course, and Ayrton Senna will still try as hard as they know, but there is not that extra time in the car.
Here we go again, 0.6 of a second. He is behind Nigel Mansell at the moment. Now, I think Lotus was losing around about 1 second between the first intermediate and the second intermediate, while it's Mika Hakkinen's car that's pulled off. Now, how much is Gerhard Berger losing between the first and second intermediate points? Oh, that's
not quite so
of
much.
a second.
Not as much. And the Berger can get through this final corner and not lose time. It's very easy here to go in. The front end gives up. Look, way over the curbs on the exit. And Berger did not lift at all coming through there. And this is a good effort. 1:15, 1:17. Yeah, a very, very good effort indeed from Gerhard Berger. Nigel Mansell coming across for the final time as well. Mansell on provisional pole with 1 minute 13.041.
Well, obviously, everybody going past the checkered flag. There's no major... 21st is Capelli, 22nd, Carl Wendlinger, 23rd, Emanuele Naspetti, Stefano Modena, 24th, 25th, Christian Fittipaldi, and 26th, without really a time, Ukio Katayama. Well, John, what did you make of this?
Well, the thing I've noticed, Allard, is around the circuit are a lot of cars parked. They're off the track, so a lot of mechanical unreliability here on Friday qualifying session. I hope by Sunday that is not going to be the case. Otherwise, we'll not have very many cars finishing the Grand Prix.
That is Sunday, when, of course, you can see the race live here on Eurosport. We'll be on air half an hour before the start of the race, which is local Portuguese time, 1400 hours, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, while Mika Hakkinen is getting a lift back from Johnny Herb